Hi 2Crafty fans, I'm going to share some of my thinking behind this layout that I created. I've got this thing for monsters. I love them and I always buy them when I see them on paper or embellishments, and 2Crafty's got quite a few really cute ones. As you can see on the right of this layout, I had some that I had picked out, but I decided on the two that are on my page. When I start creating a page for 2Crafty, I always lay my pieces out on my 8x8 page because it's sometimes tricky to fit everything on there. In these beginning stages, I'm not quite sure what I want to do with the chipboard pieces, so I just coated them with gesso so that I could either ink them or paint them or emboss them. Just putting the gesso on it helps it to take on the color that I want. I often like to use ink or embossing powder on my chipboard pieces because it coats them nicely, but I didn't have any in the right color, so I took a bunch of different paints and mixed them together to try to match up with the orange paper that I was using. The 2Crafty monsters have really fun details engraved on them, and that's what I wanted to paint, the little spots in their mouths. So I used a fine tip paintbrush with the paint. I found some green ink that I wanted to use, but I'd already painted those spots. So what I did was I painted with a paintbrush some embossing ink onto the spots and the mouth, and then I sprinkled some embossing powder and heat embossed. So at this point I had inked my monsters green, and I added some googly eyes, and then on the little guy on the right I colored his fangs in white. I heat embossed that circle with black embossing powder, and I actually heated it twice to give it a high gloss. I wanted to do something fun with this laughter title. I wanted to make it look kind of monsterish, and I looked for a stamp, but I couldn't find anything that would give it that feel that I was looking for. And then I remembered Jennifer Snyder had embossed one of her chipboard pieces, and that gave me the idea to use this Cuttlebug embossing folder. I'm not sure what went wrong when I embossed this piece, but the edge of it didn't quite get the whole embossing. Anyway, I went ahead and inked it green, and that was just really bugging me. So what I decided to do was outline those circles. I used this micron pen by Sakura. It's one of my favorite pens. I used the super fine tipped one to outline the circles and some of the details on the monster. Actually, I think I used a larger tip pen for the spots on the monster and for the mouth on the one on the left. I really wanted that laughter part of the title to be the focal point, so I added some torn black paper behind it to make it stand out more. By the way, these pictures were taken in the waiting room at a hospital. I had this weird rash on my knee from a bee sting that I had gotten. Anyway, that's why laughter is the best medicine is the title. The arrow, which is a 2Crafty piece, was covered with some of the orange pattern paper, and then I added "is the" as part of the subtitle with some rub-on letters. I felt like my page needed some splattery, splashy stuff in the background, so I mixed up some oranges and greens with my watercolors and put it on the packaging, plastic packaging, and smushed it onto my page. That's a technique I learned from Missy Whiddon. So now that I had everything planned out and all my chipboard coated, it was time to stick everything down and just add some bits and pieces. In case you're wondering how I did my journaling, basically I created a black rectangle, and then I put a text box over that and then made my text white, printed it out like that. So thanks for stopping by and listening to me ramble on about my page. I hope you enjoyed seeing my process. See you later.
Might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way.